When you have MS, you get pretty good at cutting the things out of your life that sap your energy. And given that New Year's is just around the corner, maybe one thing to get rid of is the idea of New Year's resolutions. Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of You and Me and Multiple Sclerosis. My name is Pam, and in just a few days, I will have lived with MS for 40 years. I made this video that you're about to see some time ago, but I wasn't really sure when to post it. But then I got thinking, this one might be good for a New Year's video, because it's time that we freed ourselves from the tyranny of the New Year's resolution. I think that's actually part of a trend. I've read that a lot, that people in general just aren't doing resolutions anymore because they realize that most of them never get accomplished anyway. A year is a long time to stick with something, and we change. Even when we're older, our priorities change. So keeping to one thing all year long, it's a lot to do. And besides that, I remember Dr. Swank saying that people with MS tended to be very driven. And that's a good thing, I guess, in a way, but he wasn't too sure that it was very healthy to be so driven. And in fact, he even asked me one time, he said, "Have you ever really stopped to think about why you're so driven?" Well, one symptom of being driven is this compulsion to make some kind of New Year's resolution and try to stick with it and do some kind of lofty goal, something different from the norm, whether it's lose a certain amount of weight or finish a college degree. I think people with MS have a hard time just sitting and doing nothing, even when we don't feel like doing anything. Okay, so let me know, though, are you still someone who believes in making resolutions? But let's think for a minute about how we might look at making resolutions just a little differently. And I found a really good video that I'd like to share with you. I recently came upon a video from a woman that I follow from time to time. Her name is Robin, and she has a channel called Minimalist Home. The focus of her channel is about household decluttering and staying on top of things. But what makes it interesting to me in particular is that she has ADHD, and she lives with family who also have ADHD, or at least a number of them do. And so she's particularly challenged by motivation and focus and just getting things done and feeling good about getting things done even in the face of many other demands on your time and your life. Never feeling like you quite get it all done, etc., etc. But she's come up with an interesting and simple thing that she's doing to change how she feels about her to-do list. I'll let her talk a little about that. But I want to say that I have adapted the name a little bit. She calls it a star list for obvious reasons. I think you'll see why. But I decided I'm going to start calling mine a ta-da list instead of a to-do list. Now we have, ta-da, look what I got done. Let's see what she has to say, and then I'll talk a little more about that.
The dreaded to-do list. It seems innocent enough. And of course we're going to write things down. We've got to get them done, right? I mean, my house is full of people with ADHD. If we don't write things down and make to-do lists, we will forget everything. But there's a problem with to-do lists. We will lose motivation because interest is hard to maintain, or we get overwhelmed and then we feel bad about ourselves. And why is that? Because to-do lists often focus on what needs to be done, but maybe don't include those motivational elements that are so important. Research actually suggests that involving more motivation factors can make it so much easier to get things done and get more things done in general. And guess what? I have the perfect antidote to this list. It's this. I'm like a little kid with stickers. I don't know about you, but when I was in kindergarten, we used to get stickers for everything. And I started tracking my workouts using stickers years ago. And honestly, like, this is an absolute stack. This is just from this last year. And I mean, some months are pretty good. Like July, not bad. Some months weren't so great. September, bit of a busy month. But what's great is when I look at this list, I feel like, hey, I did something. I got something done, and it feels really, really good. It also motivates me to do more. So I thought, could I use this system for more than just workouts? Enter the Shining Star List. This is for your wins. And Linda, there will be plenty of wins. I started writing my wins down, and the things that I accomplished, I wrote everything I did down, from make new hot chocolate mix for my husband because that man loves this hot chocolate mix, to I tidied the laundry space. And some days I got a lot done, like I decluttered the junk drawer. Other days I was happy to just write down that I made my bed. And it feels great, all because of the dopamine reward system. So dopamine is a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. And some research actually suggests that the brain's reward system plays a huge role in maintaining interest in activities, which I think makes a lot of sense. And it is so easy to start. I want you to grab a piece of paper and just start writing your list out. But just start writing down any wins from your day or your life at all. I even put down that I am a mom to 3 great boys. I put down that I decluttered the garage, when I brushed the cat. Honestly, it just feels so good to write that down. What I learned was that the more I wrote, the more I wanted to add. It felt so incredible to add to this list. I felt like I was actually starting to win at life and do stuff. It was an ongoing list of my accomplishments because the satisfaction is in the star list. And I also even created a sticker sheet for you guys, because if you're like me, you're going to want to put stickers on things that you weren't exactly excited to do. The whole thing is just like a great system to make you feel good, like designed to make you feel good. So start with anything from I picked up a piece of garbage to I high-fived my grandson, and you will be absolutely golden.
Well, so you see, you can go to her video and you can download the grid, or you can just use a calendar or your own sheet of paper, whatever you want to use. I like the sticker idea because that's just fun, and I'm always looking for ways to have fun without having to expend a lot more energy than lately I even have. But one thing I like about it is it focuses on the positive instead of on the negative. We have a tendency to really kind of be down on ourselves. We hold ourselves to standards that can no longer apply. As our MS progresses, we just don't have the physical or mental or emotional energy to do the kinds of things that we always thought were sort of the bread and butter of our days. And so it's harder to find things to feel really positive about. At the end of the day, we find ourselves thinking about our to-do list and how very little of it really got done. But maybe instead, we need to be looking at the things we actually did accomplish and congratulating ourselves for that. And don't be ashamed of that. Don't feel that you're being arrogant or obnoxious because you're taking pride in the fact that you remember to water your plant, or that you actually had the energy to make your bed, or maybe you returned several phone calls that have been something you've been wanting to do for a long time, or jotting a short note to a friend, or going through your email inbox and clearing out a few things. Whatever that might be, but give yourself a sticker and a star. You can either make an actual ta-da list where you list out everything you've done, or you can just use a calendar and put stickers on each day that goes by that you did something, so that when you look at it in the aggregate, you'll see a lot of stickers and you'll be able to say to yourself, you know what? Lots of things would not have happened if I had not been in the world. And that's a much better attitude to have. We all make positive contributions, but sometimes it's easy to focus on the negative and think of everything that we didn't do instead of the wonderful things that we have done. And sometimes even just being a friend is something that deserves at least one sticker on your calendar or on your to-do list. Here's a mug my friend just gave me. I think that's even better than a sticker, don't you? Well, that's all I have for you today. If you decide to try the to-do list idea, leave me a comment. I'd love to know if it's working for you, if that was something you found motivating, or is it just silly? You know what? It's okay to be silly. All right. Well, take good care of yourself in the meantime until I see you again in my next video.